Welcome back to the Real Impact Daily Inspiration Series here on Tell Me Your Story. I'm Reverend Dr. D. He is Dennis Henson. He is the author of Real Impact Daily Inspiration. Dennis, welcome back. It's always a pleasure to have the opportunity to chat with you.
Thank you, Richard. It's an honor to be here.
Well, I'll tell you, it's really kind of fun to go through these stories. I get a kick out of listening to Audible as well as producing them, whether I'm narrating them or otherwise. And the thing that opens up my eyes is the fact that in addition to having a little side work to do, I get to read another book that I might not have read.
Right.
And that, to me, is really cool. Now, I didn't produce this one. I did not produce Real Impact Daily Inspiration. Dennis, he has his own entourage to take care of that. But I'm listening to it both as an engineer, but also as a reader, an inspired reader. And right now, we're being inspired by the story of the three little girls, the Andrews sisters. And we're going to continue where we left off in our last installment.
Pennsylvania Polka. The Pennsylvania Polka was recorded for their 1942 film Give Out, Sisters, and though it was slow to gain attention, over time it grew to become one of their better-known numbers. One day, Patty received a call from the polka's composer, Zeke Manners. During that call, he shared with her how the tune came about. On their way to a horse race in Pennsylvania, a radio station played Roll Out the Barrel. That inspired him to create another polka for the Andrews sisters. That same day at the track, he heard the trumpeters call to the post before the start of each race. Then it hit him. That bugle call would make an excellent polka melody. Once he got the tune in his head, he couldn't stop thinking of it. So that evening, Manners composed the Pennsylvania Polka, especially for the sisters. In their next movie, Private Buckaroo, the girls put on a show for service members singing, "Don't Sit Under the Apple Tree with Anyone Else But Me."
Incredible. And these titles just keep going and going and going, Dennis. I mean, the great songs that they sang and so forth. I mean, they made them first of all their own and shared them with the rest of the world. It really, would you say, uplifted people? It gave them, I don't know if I want to use the word a sense of hope, but it certainly gave them something that they all desired, they all wanted.
Well, it took their mind off of whatever was bothering them. They're uplifting. They make you feel good. So they're fun to listen to. And
absolutely.
I still enjoy listening to them.
Yeah. I haven't gone back quite that far. I mean, obviously that's outside of my age range. By the same token, I have noticed that a lot of young people here today in the 21st century, they're dipping back. I mean, 30, 40, even 50 or 60 years to the music that was produced. And they're touched by it. They're moved by it. It's incredible.
Yes. I used to dance a lot. That's up where I met my beautiful wife at a dance, a ballroom dance in Dallas. And if there was a dance, I would go to it. And so there's so many swing dances and it's wonderful young people, teenagers, 20-year-old people, they can do some amazing things. It's fun to just go watch them, even if you can't dance. And much of the music that they're dancing to is the Andrews sisters.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you, when I watch some of the dancing, especially when it comes to swing or very active dancing in that regard from that era, I just sit there and I'm in awe, and I stay on the sidelines in awe because I'm not a dancer. I just never have been. It was never something that I worked on being a part of my repertoire, but I enjoy watching people having a good time out there on the dance floor, no matter what the dance is. It's incredible.
Yes, I enjoy watching and I enjoy dancing.
Very good. Well, let's move on to the next section in this story of the three little girls.
The war. From the end of 1941 to 1945, with the nation embroiled in bitter combat, the sisters' upbeat and optimistic nature made them the perfect boosters for the country's war effort. While performing Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy and in other movies, their dress in military uniforms endeared them to the GIs fighting overseas.
there's nothing like a uniform, to be honest with you. And I myself, though I have never served, I think I have had relatives who have. Um, I The thing that really intrigues me about the military that I hold near and dear to my heart is the community, the bond. You hear the phrase all the time from the different branches that you leave no man behind. And I've got your six. Those kinds of phrases, and they're bonded. And so that's the one thing I would love to see a more part of our civilian population that, hey, Dennis, I've got your back. I'm not going to leave you behind. All right. And that's just my observation, my perspective is I'd love to see more of that in our society.
I totally agree.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to go ahead and drop in another segment here, and then we'll take our little pause here on Tell Me Your Story. This is the Real Impact Daily Inspiration Series, and we're talking about the three little girls.
The USO. The United Services Organization, USO, was a collaboration between show business professionals and the military to bring morale-boosting entertainment to the troops during the war. Funded by public donations, it initially brought shows to the bases where young men were trained before going overseas. Most shows were performed on flatbed trucks that could be driven from base to base. They featured the day's top talent, such as Bob Hope, Bing Crosby, Dorothy Lamour, Ginger Rogers, Betty Grable, Abbott and Costello, and Clark Gable, along with the music of Tommy Dorsey, Glenn Miller, Benny Goodman, and, of course, the Andrews Sisters. Thanks to the girls' vaudeville background, they held their own with the best of them, and during the war years, they performed in hundreds of shows. For the GIs, the Andrews Sisters represented home and the comforts they'd left behind. When the young girls sang, "I'll Be With You in Apple Blossom Time," a hush fell over the recruits who were already missing their loved ones. Yet when they launched into Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy, those same GIs rose to their feet to dance and clap to the music. Throughout the war, the girls volunteered to entertain the enlisted and wounded. They sang for war bond rallies and USO canteens. The canteens were staffed by famous stars who waited tables, washed dishes, and provided entertainment for the boys. While working with the USO, the girls often joined 3 random GIs for dinner. For a war-torn country, the trio provided a musical security blanket through their records, films, radio, and personal appearances. Their motto was to emphasize that America is strong and proud. Their optimistic, upbeat war campaign instilled hope, joy, and allegiance through song, comedy, and lively movement. Time magazine called them the Queens of the Jukebox, and the New York Times stated that the Andrews Sisters are in a class by themselves. In addition to their war efforts, the girls played to civilian audience, setting attendance records during a national tour in 1942. They also had a Sunday night radio show, appeared in more than a dozen films, and continued to do recordings for Decca. By 1944, the Andrews Sisters had sold more than 30 million records. After 3 years of lobbying the USO, the girls were finally allowed to participate in an 8-week tour. On tour, they entertained thousands of service members in North Africa and Italy, often performing in war zones only a short distance from the front lines.
Incredible. And of course, I believe the USO is still intact today because we have servicemen and women all over the planet serving in various capacities. And we have musicians and comedians and so forth that they go there. They go to these different locations and entertain to sort of, as was stated, take their minds off of, what's going on, and that's kind of hard to do, but, you got to give it a shot. Laughter, they say, is the best medicine. And I'll tell you what, I've seen some of those USO shows years gone by, especially during, what was it, Desert Storm, I guess it was. Robin Williams would go and he would entertain them, and They would laugh and have a great time and kind of release some of that tension a little bit there, just incredible. And these gals, I mean, you're still going into a war zone because you're in that general area. So, I mean, their safety had to have been of concern to both the people that were asking them to go there, but even to them. But they said, you know what, we're going.
Well, it was their idea to go. I mean, they got turned down year after year after year, and so USO finally relented and said, okay, and let them go and entertain the troops.
Yeah.
Near the front lines, which was extremely dangerous. Next to Bob Hope, they were the second most seen entertainers. Bob Hope was number one, Andrews Sisters were number two. And just imagine at the USO events at home, coming into USO event and the Andrews Sisters picking you and having lunch with you or dinner and sitting next to you. These were three of the most famous women, or probably the three most famous women in the United States. And there they were sitting at the table with you, having lunch and talking with you. And I imagine talking with Patty was probably a lot of fun because she was a character.
That's interesting because it's very difficult to find someone in the spotlight today that you can really get close to. There are a few here and there, but they almost seem few and far between. Whereas these gals, they made themselves available in that respect. They wanted to connect with their audience, not just from the stage.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. They were very available and friendly to the troops. They really supported the troops.
Incredible. We're going to talk more about the three little girls as we continue here on Tell Me Your Story, the Real Impact Daily Inspiration Series. We encourage you to go to realimpactbook.com to get your copy. You can get a free ebook by going to Real Impact Book, clicking on the podcast attendee link at the bottom of the page, and then putting your email address, as well as clicking on the link to be notified when new releases are available. Dennis will send that out to you as soon as those are available. You can also, as I say, get a free ebook copy by having unlimited Kindle. You already have access to a free ebook version. There's also the Audible version, which of course you are listening to on this program. And we also encourage you to get yourself a hard copy, maybe a hardcover or paperback version. We encourage you to do that and read it, pass it on, maybe buy several copies and share them with all kinds of different celebrations and special occasions, whether it be anniversaries or graduations or holidays of Christmas or birthdays and so on and so forth, or just because. We hope that you'll make it a point to do that as we continue here on Tell Me Your Story. This is the Real Impact Daily Inspiration Series with Dennis Henson and yours truly, Richard Dugan. And we're talking here on Tell Me Your Story about the Real Impact Daily Inspiration book. And we're, of course, in the midst of talking about the three little sisters, the Andrews Sisters, and we'll continue that in just a moment. Dennis, you have mentioned in previous programs about some of the other books you're writing, and we did talk earlier in a program about the other two volumes of Real Impact, and they'll be coming out in due time, folks, in due time. But the one that I'm curious about, and I guess, again, I'll mention this, that you have books on real estate as well, because that's really your main forte, if you will, that you're an instructor, if you will, or a teacher of real estate. To students and so forth, but you have I love when you talk about the seven. I believe I have this correct. The 7 laws of nature for success.
Well, there's the 7 secrets of success, which
Seven
is one
secrets.
book.
Okay.
And the laws of nature for success is a separate book.
Mm-hmm.
So those will be coming out this year.
Yeah, talk to us about the laws of the laws of nature.
The laws of nature are when I went into the business world, I went to work for a large company. The vice president of the company invited me into his office, and we kind of bonded. I felt like I'd known him all my life. At that time, he was my age, and I was 27, 28 years old. I was a kid. And he started telling me about these certain laws that if you follow these laws, your life is going to be easy. It'll be good. You'll have all the money that you need. People will like you. Things will go well for you. But if you don't follow the law, you go against these laws, then it's going to be just the opposite. You're going to have a hard time, and it's going to be difficult to become successful. So I stopped him and I said, well, Jack, where's the book? I want the book. Give me I thought he'd already given me 3 great books, Think and Grow Rich, Success, the Glenn Bland Method, Greatest Salesman in the World. And I had read those and I was super motivated. So when he started talking, I thought he was telling me about a new book. And he laughed at me and he said, no, it's not in any one book. It's a life study. It's in lots of different books. So when I left his office that day, I thought, well, he must be mistaken. There is a book that has those laws in it. I'm going to find it. But this was in 1975. Okay. And I looked and I looked. I looked for articles. I looked for books. And in this book, I kind of list all of the things that I went through and all of the things that I looked at and searched. And I finally realized Jack was right. That specific set of laws is not available anywhere. So I thought, well, that's just not good because there's someone else just like me. There's some young person, it's 25, 27, 30, 35 years old, that's looking for this. And I can put it together because I've done all this research. And I had been working on the 7 Secrets of Success, done a lot of case studies on successful people. And I thought, well, if I go back and look at those case studies, I can pick out the very things that they did, that all of them did, that led them to success, which is, what a law is. It's something that's going to work the same way for everyone over and over again. So that I started putting the book together, and the more I worked on it, the more fun it became. I mean, it's really been a great experience putting this together, and it's finished. I'm polishing it right now. I mean, the book is done, and it even has a work area in the back to help you put the laws, fit the laws into your life, into your system. Yeah. So I'm really excited about it, and most people that I mention it to are also excited about it. They said, that sounds like a pretty good book. And it is. It's fun to read, and it's got some powerful, powerful wisdom inside.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, you have piqued my interest. I am definitely going to get a copy. And I think it's actually coming in the bundle that I have ordered, along with the Real Impact, the Daily Inspiration hardcover version. And it's really something that, I mean, shoot, I'd love to have my life easier. Not to say that it's hard now, but if I could make it any easier, that'd be nice. And then have all the money that I not that I could accumulate. No. All the money that I could need and or want to do the things that I want to do. That's one of the things, Dennis, you and I, we've talked about this on the program in the past. Sure, I'd like to have 6 or 7 figures in the bank account. Absolutely. I mean, who wouldn't? But by the same token, I'm not looking at 8 or 9 or 10 figures either. I mean, first of all, my father, who passed away 2 years ago, he didn't take it with him. Okay. Which means that if I had 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 digits before the decimal point, I can't take it with me. And so why would I want to accumulate it? I want to share it with people. I want to help other people. I want to do some incredible things. Sure, my wife and I, we want to travel and we want to do this and that and the other thing, just like I'm sure you and your wife are the same way. But it's not about the stuff, and it's not even about the money. I mean, that's great. but it really is about these relationships, like the one that you and I have here, doing these podcasts and video casts here on Tell Me Your Story. That, I got to tell you, that is where the real gold is. And I heard a commercial. I had to laugh. I do every time I hear this kind of a commercial, because I've heard them for years, about how, the stock market, it's going to drop and you're going to lose all your money, and you can't put all your money in a mattress and this and that and the other thing. However, there is one sure thing: get gold. And I'm going, but you can't eat it. What are you going to do with it? Now somebody, I'm sure, has figured out, okay, well, here's how you negotiate it. Here's how you work with it. And I'm going, but the bottom line is you can't eat it. You can't wear it. I suppose you could, thin it out and make some clothing out of it, I suppose. But that's being facetious. It's your relationships. It's your network. It's your community. That's where the real gold is. And that's why I love these stories, because that's what it speaks to. Some of these people, yeah, they made oodles of money, but they also had the connections. They also had the relationships and they had the talents and the abilities and the capacity to do the things that they did, going all the way back to story number one of Sylvester Stallone. And, of course, now we see him on television doing a series and so forth, but he's got lots of movies to his name. And, but he still has those relationships, that community. And I think that's something that needs to really be focused on. And we'll talk more about that as we continue here on Tell Me Your Story. I'm Richard Dugan. He's Dennis Henson. This is Tell Me Your Story, the Real Impact Daily Inspiration Series. And Dennis, talk to us from your perspective in your life. As old as you might say and or think you are, you have only been here a very short time on the planet, as have I. We're here for, as I like to put it, we're here for less than a puff of smoke, okay? In the grand scheme of things. Talk to us about this aspect of community and how daily inspiration plays into that.
Just imagine if everyone that you met had a positive attitude. They knew what they wanted. They knew where they were going. They were working hard to get it, and they were happy. Can you imagine what a nice place it would be, or how wonderful it would be to live in that city or that community if everyone felt that way? Well, that doesn't happen all at once. It happens one person at a time. Mm-hmm. And that's what this book is about. It's about changing things, forming a good positive habit that will move you toward a goal. And if you're moving toward a goal and you can see progress, that makes you happy. That makes you feel better. Then you're not, feeling bad about money or how someone treated you. As long as you're feeling good, you can't feel bad.
True.
So
yeah.
It's an antidote to being down. Up is an antidote to being down. So,
that's a good point. Yes.
Yeah. If most people are up most of the time, then everybody's happy, which is a pretty good state. That's why they say heaven is up.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I couldn't agree with you more. It's just, and that's not to say, and I don't want anybody to get us wrong here. That's not to say that you're going to have some days that you're going to be down. That's true. But if you have people around you, because not all of them are going to be down at the same time. That usually does not happen. You'll be able to, I remember a conversation with my mother on the phone. This was, of course, after my father's passing, and I was sharing with her the story. Okay? The story. She stopped me mid-story and said, "No, I'm sorry. I don't want to hear about it. I don't." And she says, "Now, if you want to call and get a little inspiration or get a little advice or just chat about, whatever, I'm here for you, but I don't want to hear the story." And I said, "Okay, I love you." And we hung up. And at first I thought, wow, Mom. But you know, it dawned on me she was absolutely right. She doesn't have to hear the story. And if I can learn, I don't have to tell the story and or share it with anybody else who really doesn't, because we all have the stories. You know, you talked about up and down, you know, the emotions that we go through. We all have the same emotions. It's the intensity at which we feel them. That's what makes us different. But we're all the same because we experience all of the same emotions. And when you have that network, that community, not everybody's feeling the same all the time. So I could call my mom and maybe she's having a bad day. And I'll say, is this a good time to talk? She may say, well, not really. I'm in the middle of something. And I say, okay, I'll tell you what, I'll call you back tomorrow. And the next day I may call her back and I say, how you doing? Is this a good time to talk? She, oh yeah, absolutely. And we'll go to chatting away. And it's being respectful of the other person. But Dennis, I also think too, it's being respectful of yourself. That's why reading something a positive or inspirational every day, as you encourage people to, is so important, because then you're showing yourself that respect, that you are important. You're important enough to engage in reading something that will help to bring you up from down.
Exactly. Yes.
You know, well, I'll tell you what, Dennis, we're going to take another pause. We're going to come back and listen to some more of the Three Little Girls as we continue here on Tell Me Your Story. I'm Richard Dugan. Dennis Henson is here with us. He's the author of Real Impact, Daily Inspiration, and we're going to listen to another segment of the story of the Three Little Girls, the Andrews sisters.
America's Sweethearts. Second only to Bob Hope in commitment and extensive touring, the girls earned the title of America's Sweethearts. However, it was more than just a title to the young men living in foxholes and fighting on foreign soil. Those boys were not only dirty, tired, and scared as they faced the real threat of death, they were desperately homesick. Pin-up girls like Betty Grable and Rita Hayworth and Lana Turner were nice to look at, but few of those GIs could imagine them as their sweethearts. However, the attractive but less glamorous Andrews sisters reminded them of the girls back in Pine Grove, Springfield, Madison, or wherever they called home, the ones they saw in school and church. The trio looked like their own sisters, cousins, and friends. The boys could easily see themselves returning home to marry someone who looked just like them.
Well, I'll tell you, that is one of the things that we guys especially go through kind of all the time. I mean, it's one of those aspects and attributes of the male that we're supposed to be, you know, attracted to the female form. And you know, there's nothing wrong with. I mean, I've you know, had relationships with women. And I mean, I love them. I mean, they're wonderful human beings, and I've met some really smart, very intelligent, thoughtful, caring, compassionate women in my day, and I've been around only a scant 65 years, Dennis, and they make a big difference in our lives. And I think one of the most important things is that they, a lot of times, they're there when we don't think they're there. And these gals were there communicating with the people both in the audience, but I would venture their fan mail was just unbelievable.
Right. When they would appear overseas, the sailors and soldiers would write home. Thousands of letters would pour into the United States talking about how wonderful it was to see them and how it made them feel at home. So they were extremely popular. Even after the war was over, the guys still loved them. Everybody did. They were super popular and very nice girls.
Out of curiosity, did any of them ever marry?
Yes.
Follow their careers?
Yes. They had married life. They had some interesting, I won't go into it, but they had some interesting things happen to them. They got married, and some of them got divorced and got married again. And they they broke up as a group and then got back together right at the end. But it, you know, that's all in the future.
Sure, sure. No, I understand
And
that.
the main part of the story is the super success that they
Sure.
had when they were young and singing as a group.
Wonderful. All right. Well, let's grab another segment here of the Three Little Sisters.
The discs. Records of the trio were produced especially for those serving, so the recruits could see their pictures, hear their voices, and experience their personalities. The GI's love for the Andrews Sisters was as real as any they'd had or would ever experience, and the girls realized that there would never be another sweetheart for many of them. So they gave them a show they would never forget. Their performances were always followed by thunderous applause, whistles, and shouts. Thousands of letters were mailed home from the war zone saying, "Mom, I saw the Andrews Sisters, and they were incredible."
Well, that is what they wanted to leave them with. An incredible experience that they would never forget. And they did just that. And with that, we'll tack on one more little short segment.
8 to the Bar Ranch. 8 to the Bar Ranch was a Western-themed radio program hosted by the trio and co-hosted by Gabby Hayes, the most famous of all sidekicks in Western movies. It ran from 1944 to 46 and featured a new guest every week. Big stars like Frank Sinatra, Bing Crosby, Bob Hope, Eddie Cantor, Carmen Miranda, Judy Garland, Ethel Merman, Rudy Vallee, and other prominent celebrities were featured. Their movies continued to experience box office sellouts, and they remained in great demand for on-stage and personal appearances nationwide.
That is something that is also pretty incredible, Dennis, that even as you say, after the war, and we hear in the stories, they continued on their success, at least in the early years following the war, didn't wane. They still remain very popular. And people still loved to listen to their music, go see them perform, and so forth. And that is a testament to the fact that, like you have said so many times, you even said it earlier in the program, they knew what they wanted to do, and they did it.
That's true. That's important. Isn't it interesting? The format of that radio program has been copied through the years in TV and radio and everything. Having stars come in. I was thinking, like the Johnny Carson show or any number of shows. What was the Perry Como show?
Yeah, Merv Griffin,
Dean Martin, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So over the years, it was basically what the girls were doing back in the mid 40s. So I thought that was interesting.
Once again, they were breaking ground for everyone else to follow.
Exactly.
And that's usually how someone has to do it, and why not these three lovely ladies? You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's fantastic. It really is, because it's allowed all of us. I mean, I've produced programs along those lines where we had a musician in studio along with a host and others as well, who were sort of co-hosts or guest hosts, if you will, and just having a great time chatting away and talking about the things that they do. And I'm curious as if you ever came across interviews that they gave over the years where they talked about what was really important to them, as you've shared in the stories.
Oh, sure. On YouTube, I did a lot of research, but there's a lot of YouTube videos where they were interviewed and shows that they were on, where they were the guest, and then bring them out and talk with them. A lot of the parts of the stories were from interviews that I listened to on YouTube and that I found in my research on Google and so forth. But Patty she was a character. I don't know if you ever saw The Gong Show. Did you ever watch The Gong Show?
I actually did, with Chuck Nichols.
She was one of the judges on there, and I love The Gong Show, and she always say something really, really funny.
Oh
Like
my.
all the other judges did, the Gong Show was hilarious.
Oh, I just loved the mannerisms of Chuck Barris in particular, but also the panelists. Oh, he was just hilarious. I
Yeah.
hate to see that show go, but at least you can get it off of YouTube or in rerun somewhere. So, very interesting. Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to throw in one last section here of the story of the three little girls before we wrap up this segment.
Drinking rum and Coca-Cola. One afternoon in December of 1944, a friend brought a new song to the studio for the girls' consideration. And though less than an hour was spent reviewing it, they believed it might have merit. The following day, after completing all their sessions, 20 minutes remained of studio time. Taking advantage of those minutes, the girls recorded the song from the night before, without having access to a musical arrangement. Laverne played the tune a couple of times for the studio musicians. Then, after talking over who would sing what and when, and with the other musicians ad-libbing their parts, the girls recorded the song in a single take. Believing the song might be something they would re-record later, they forgot about it. However, when Jack Kapp heard the take, he declared, "That's it." That single was placed on the group's next record. When Drinking Rum and Coca-Cola was released, it immediately rose to the #1 position and remained there for 7 weeks. During that time, millions of copies were sold, and when many radio stations considered it too risque and refused to play it, the record became even more desirable. When you tell teenagers they can't have something, they will move heaven and earth to get it.
You know, that is a lesson no one has ever learned down through the history of man. When you tell someone don't, they
Right.
will do it anyway, maybe even just to spite you. And go ahead.
Well, that Drinking Rum and Coca-Cola, first of all, it was Maury Amsterdam. I don't know if you remember him.
I do.
It was he that brought him the song, and it was Calypso. It was the first Calypso song released in the United States. So the Andrews Sisters introduced Calypso. And my wife and I like to watch movies on TV, but she likes romantic movies and I like mystery movies. So I'm always on the lookout for something that has both. And I remembered seeing Sissy Spacek dancing with a broom. And there was some music playing in the background, and I just loved it. I thought that's wonderful music. And so one night we were looking for a movie to watch, and I looked it up. I looked up Sissy Spacek dancing with a broom, and it came up and said it was Raggedy Man. And so we watched it. And I played that part over and over again where she's dancing, and in the background, they're playing Rum and Coca-Cola.
Hmm.
So that's how I learned about the Andrews Sisters. I mean, I'd heard of them. I didn't know who they were. So I thought, my goodness, they've got so many songs. It's just amazing. And the more I read, the more impressed I got. And I thought, I wonder if they ever went through any struggles. That's when I went and started researching their background and how hard it was for them at the beginning, and how they hung in there until success. They caught up with success, or it waited for them, or whatever.
Yeah.
So if you haven't listened to Drinking Rum and Coca-Cola, you should go to YouTube right now and pull it up, because that is a great song. I mean, it's beautiful, but they had only had it one day. They'd rehearsed it shortly, like 30 minutes the night before, and it was ad-libbed. The entire music was the band was ad-libbing, and the phrasing on this is tremendously difficult. And they rehearsed it for 30 minutes and got it in one take. That's how amazing these girls were. I mean, they were so talented. It's just, I don't know words to explain how amazing that is. I'm a musician myself, and I know you just don't do things like that.
Well, I will tell you that I've had experience in that early on in my career, in that I would have people who would bring in material to produce up a half-hour program. I said, "Did you time any of this stuff out?" And they said, "No." I said, "Oh, all right. Well, start putting it together." Now, that was back with reel-to-reel and cassette. We didn't have computers. We'd put all of the stuff that they wanted in there, put it all together, and then we timed it. And it was perfect. Now, in terms of one take situations, yeah, I've had a few of those too. And it's one of those things where you sit there in awe going, wow, how did that happen? I don't need to go back and fix that.
Yeah.
Because if I do, I'm going to mess it up. I'll leave it right where it is. And that's with this song, Roman Coca-Cola.
Well,
then, go ahead, please.
The amazing part is there's 3 of them.
Yeah.
And the phrasing is extremely difficult, and they hit it right on the head. And it's long. It's not, just a few seconds. It's several minutes. And I don't know, it just blows you away to learn how much time they had to practice it and how well they put it together, and that the musicians are just ad-libbing.
Hey, when you're in the zone, you're in the zone. And we will continue in our zone here on Tell Me Your Story. Dennis Henson is my guest. He's actually sort of, you might say, the co-host of the Real Impact series here on Tell Me Your Story. And we are talking, of course, about the Three Little Sisters, which we will continue in our next installment. But in the meantime, in between time, Dennis, I'm going to give you last word, as always, to wrap things up for us here on this edition of the Real Impact Daily Inspiration Series.
Thank you, Richard. I'm not sure we mentioned it on this episode, but you can get a free ebook copy of Real Impact Daily Inspiration by going to realimpactbook.com, scrolling to the bottom, click on Podcast Attendee. It's free. There's no strings attached. Put your name. There's 3 gifts. Go get your free gifts. 3 free gifts just for going. The only ulterior motive is I want you to have the book to help yourself. And if you like it, I want you to help other people. And if you really like the way I write, I want to let you know. You can click on the link and I'll let you know when other books come out. So please do that and help someone today, lift someone's spirits. If you read a book you really love, go to Amazon, give them a 5-star rating and say something nice about their book.
Exactly. We hope that you will do just that, folks, and go to realimpactbook.com. And again, as we have mentioned, lots of different opportunities on that website, in addition to getting your free ebook, whether you have unlimited Kindle or you want to go down to the bottom of the page to podcast attendee, put in your email address as well. You can order your own copy, hardcover or paperback. The Audible is also available. You get a copy of that as well, which is, of course, what you've been listening to here on Tell Me Your Story. And hey, you can have a lot of fun just on that website alone. You could win your own Audible version by looking for the lamp on the various pages of realimpactbook.com. And it'll be kind of a fun scavenger hunt or treasure hunt, if you will, because the treasure at the end is that daily inspiration. We hope you'll do that. Dennis, once again, thank you so much for being a part of what we're trying to do here to change the world for the better for everyone. And we look forward to talking with you next week, continuing on with the Three Little Girls.
Thank you, Richard.
Folks, thank you for being a part of what we're doing here. And we thank you for joining us here on Tell Me Your Story, New Paradigms for a New World, where we are giving you choices and knowledge of those choices to help make your dreams come true. We are here on Sundays at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m., Monday mornings at 1 a.m., Wednesdays at 9 a.m., and Monday through Friday from 8 to 9 a.m. And by the way, the Wednesday 8 a.m. edition is just that, the special edition here with Dennis Henson. I hope you will join us every Wednesday morning at 8 o'clock following the news. We stream live at all those times at richarddugan.com. We have podcasts on SoundCloud, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Spotify, Stitcher, Player FM, Blueberry, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music. We are on Spreaker. We're also on YouTube, where you can hear and listen to and watch these conversations. We hope you'll subscribe as well as click notification. If you'd like to get a copy of Choices, 5 Steps for Life, we hope you will go to Amazon and order your copy, paperback or hardcover or ebook. Audible is coming. We also encourage you to leave us a tip. I mean, the reviews are really fantastic. We appreciate that as well. But if you can help us out financially with a tip, we'd greatly appreciate it. We have a PayPal account. It is there for your security as well as ours. And any amount is gratefully appreciated. And as I've said before, we'll even take energetic support. So thank you, thank you, thank you to those who have helped and to those who will help. And also, please take time during this decade of perfect vision to go within to that quiet, peaceful, calm place and listen to that still small voice. And until our next broadcast, podcast, videocast, love to love. Jeanette, I'm still listening. Dad, continue to be happy because I am. Smokey, I'll see you on the other side. Mike, thanks for letting me be in your life. And to my dear friend Zorro, aho, aho.